For thousands years ago, along the fertile banks of the Nile River, one of the greatest civilizations of the ancient world was flourishing. Ancient Egypt had grown powerful through agriculture, trade, and strong leadership under its pharaohs. The Nile was the lifeline of this civilization, bringing water, fertile soil, and connection between distant lands. But beyond Egypt's southern border lay a land equally rich in culture and resources. This was Nubia, a region stretching deep into Africa, known for its gold, trade routes, and proud warrior traditions for centuries. These two civilizations would compete for power along the Nile. Their rivalry would lead to a series of conflicts that historians now call the Egyptian-Nubian Wars. Nubia was far more than just Egypt's southern neighbor. The region was rich in gold deposits, valuable minerals, and trade routes that connected Egypt to the deeper parts of Africa. The Nubian kingdoms developed strong societies built around trade, agriculture, and skilled warriors in particular. Nubian archers were famous throughout the ancient world for their incredible accuracy. Their lands were protected by rugged terrain, deserts, and mountains, making them difficult for invading armies to conquer. For the Egyptians, Nubia represented both a threat and an opportunity. Whoever controlled Nubia would gain enormous wealth and influence over the trade flowing through the Nile. Egypt's rulers, the powerful pharaohs, understood the importance of Nubia. Control over this region meant access to gold mines that could finance massive building projects and strengthen the Egyptian economy. During the Middle Kingdom of Egypt, around 1000 BCE, Egyptian pharaohs began turning their attention toward the south. They sent explorers, traders, and eventually armies into Nubian territory. What began as competition for trade soon escalated into military conflict. The Nile, once a simple trade route, was becoming a front line between the civilizations. Egyptian armies were among the most organized military forces of the ancient world. Soldiers were equipped with bronze weapons, large shields, spears, and powerful bows. Elite units traveled in war chariots, giving them speed and mobility across open terrain. Thousands of soldiers marched south along the Nile, following the river deep into Nubian lands. Their objective was clear: secure Egypt's borders, dominate the southern trade routes, and bring Nubia under Egyptian control. But the Nubians were ready. Nubian warriors were famous for their strength and skill in combat. Unlike the organized formations of the Egyptian army, Nubian fighters relied heavily on mobility, archery, and knowledge of the terrain. The archers were particularly feared. Arrows could strike Egyptian soldiers from a distance before the armies even came close to each other. The Nubians knew the deserts and mountains of their homeland far better than any invading army. As Egyptian forces advanced, Nubian defenders prepared to protect their land, their people, and their independence. The first clashes between Egypt and Nubia took place along the narrow corridors of the Nile Valley. Egyptian soldiers advanced in disciplined formations, shields raised as arrows rained down from Nubian archers. War chariots thundered across the battlefield, attempting to break enemy lines and push deeper into Nubian territory. The battles were intense and often brutal. Both sides fought fiercely for control of the region, although Egypt often had the advantage of numbers and organization. Nubian warriors were determined and resilient. The conflict would continue for generations. To maintain control over the contested region, Egyptian rulers developed a powerful strategy. They constructed a chain of massive stone fortresses along the Nile River. These strongholds served several purposes. They protected Egypt's southern frontier, monitored trade passing along the river, and allowed Egyptian soldiers to quickly respond to Nubian resistance. Some of these fortresses became enormous military settlements, housing soldiers, officials, and traders through this network of defenses. Egypt was able to maintain influence deep into Nubian territory. The Egyptian-Nubian Wars did not. And quickly, for centuries, these two civilizations struggled for control of the Nile's southern lands. At times, Egypt dominated Nubia. At other times, Nubian kingdoms regained strength and independence. Despite the conflicts, the two cultures influenced each other through trade, migration, and shared traditions in later centuries. Nubia itself would grow powerful enough to conquer Egypt and rule as pharaohs. The rivalry between Egypt and Nubia became one of the longest and most fascinating struggles in the history of ancient Africa, along the eternal waters of the Nile. Two civilizations fought for power, wealth, and survival. Their wars shaped the destiny of North Africa and left a legacy that would echo through history for thousands of years.